Hi, I'm Ray Tantzen. I'm a product manager here at Presonus, and we're at Namm 2019. And I would like to talk a little bit about our StudioLive Series 3 mixers and the ecosystem that goes with it, and see if I can give you a little bit of benefits and advice on things you can do with this system that might be able to help you out with your church. So, first off, we've got a few different flavors of mixer. We have 3 different console mixers and 3 different rack mixers. And with the console mixers, you can get a 16 fader size, a 24 fader size, or a 32 fader size, but all of them are a full 32 channel mixer under the hood. So that means that you can start off with a smaller mixer if you don't need that many inputs or you don't have a lot of space, but then it can grow with you. So you can start with, say, a 16 channel mixer, and then you can add a stage box later to be able to get more channels out of it, because again, it's a 32 channel under the hood. You can also do things like start with a rack mixer and just save the space. Maybe you're a mobile church, and you can have that in a rack, control it all from an iPad or an Android tablet or a computer. And then the rack mixer can be used as a monitor mixer or a stage box later if you decide to add a console mixer and expand that system. And you can keep going and expanding the system as your needs expand and grow also. With the stage boxes, also with our EarMix, we have our EarMix 16M, which is a personal monitor mixer. And that will allow you to add personal monitor mixing stations throughout the stage for your performance. And that's in addition to having our QMixer C control software, so each performer can have their own control of the software. So a lot of different options in how you could use the mixer and use the different parts of the ecosystem to kind of streamline rehearsals and services and monitor mixes and things like that.
So I got a question. So in my case, I'm currently running 2 boards, one front of house and one at the front of the room for monitoring. My current configuration is just Cat 5 via both boards. So how can I do something like that?
So it really worked very similar to how you've got now. So each mixer and each stage box and EarMix have an audio network built in. We use an AVB network. And what that allows us to do is connect up all these devices together and share all of the inputs and outputs between all the devices. So if I've got 2 mixers, or let's say I've got 3 mixers, I've got front of house, monitors, and broadcast. So I've got 3 mixers on the network, and I've got, let's say, 4 stage boxes. All of the mixers can receive inputs from the 4 stage boxes, as well as each of the other mixers. So if I've got wireless coming in on the front of house mixer, because I've got my wireless receivers up in front of house, my monitor mixer and my broadcast mixer can pull those inputs from that front of house mixer into their mixer for their mix. So you can send anything everywhere on the network. It's really flexible in that regard. And then you can continue to expand on that. There's no limit to, you can only have 2 stage boxes or 4 stage boxes. You can do 8 stage boxes. So it's really just how you want to utilize the system. And we've also done things with the system to try to make those kinds of setups a little bit easier. So if you have a monitor mixer and a front of house mixer, you can actually go into the system and designate one as a monitor mixer. And what we'll do is we will automatically route all of the channels back and forth between those 2 mixers and set one up as a monitor mixer, so you can have a quicker, more streamlined setup.
How user-friendly is it for the servants? Guys like us, being engineers, we can get in there, we can spend all day with it and make it do whatever we want it to do. But how easy is it to work for the novice guys?
Yeah, so the feedback that we've gotten at the churches that we do beta sites, my own church, the volunteers that have been using it, who aren't necessarily fully experienced audio engineers, they have been really digging it because it's a digital mixer. It will allow you to recall scenes. So you know all of your preamp levels, your faders can come up for this particular service that you're doing. Also, because it has, I found the graphical user interface here where you can see the EQ, you can see the compressor curves. I found that our volunteers really enjoy having that feedback right there on the mixer, where they can just point at something on the screen and turn a knob and it's doing what they need it to do. So you don't need to put a lot of thought into, am I grabbing the knob, am I doing the right thing? And they get that visual feedback, which just really helps them kind of comprehend the changes they're making to the sound. So using scenes, scene safe, stuff like that, Plus we've got a few features in store for the future that are designed specifically for church volunteers that we'll be sharing later in the year. But that's kind of our focus, is making it easy to set up, easy to use, and easy to repeat successes.
Okay, so then I got two more questions. So can you tell me about the John was telling me about the gain compensation thing between the stage box and the two boards? Yep.
So this is something that's pretty unique to our mixers. You do get this feature on like high-end, like $40,000, $50,000 mixing systems, but not where we're at. So our stage boxes all feature gain compensation on the inputs. And so what that means is, in that scenario where I've got a front-of-house mixer and a monitor mixer, if both of them are listening to the same input on the stage box, if front-of-house turns down the gain for whatever reason, it means that the gain structure for that channel in the monitor mixer is also going to turn down. That can have an adverse effect on people's in-ears or monitors on stage during a performance. So we want to be able to avoid that. So how do we do that? We do that with gain compensation. So with gain compensation, what you do is you assign one mixer to have control of the preamps. And the other mixer, instead of having preamp control, only has a local digital control. So they can still turn up or down what's coming into their mixer, but they don't have control of the preamp. So what happens is, once front of house, let's say, has control, once they set the level for that preamp, any changes they make during the performance of that level, we have a digital gain in the stage box that's going to make an equal and opposite adjustment to that gain, so that what we end up with is no change to the gain level of the gain compensated feed that's going to the monitor mixer. So you're in the middle of a performance, your lead vocalist is getting a little bit louder because they're getting excited, they're getting into it, right? Front of house is like, I'm going to back off that preamp a little bit because I'm nervous about going into clip. So they turn down the preamp, and then on that stage box, it turns up the feed that's being sent to monitor mixers, so that feed coming into the monitor mixing console doesn't change volume. So the entire gain structure and the integrity of that signal throughout the chain stays intact.
Okay, and then my last question is, what's your favorite feature?
Oh man. So my favorite feature is, I've got a lot, but I'm going to pick one that I think is a really cool feature, especially for churches, because this is something that we use. A lot of churches now are doing live broadcasts. There's a lot of different ways that you can do a live broadcast. It's a great way of reaching a larger audience or reaching members who can't make it in physically. So one of the things that people always struggle with broadcast mixes is the mix on the board is never going to sound as good on broadcast as it does in the room, because you're mixing for the room. So one of the tools that you can use to achieve a better broadcast mix is to utilize a matrix mix. And so on all of the mixes on the StudioLive Series 3 mixers, they're all what we call flex mixes. So they can be an aux mix, a subgroup, or a matrix mix. And so what I like to do is set up a matrix mix. And a matrix mix is basically it's a mix of mixes. It allows you to take your main mix or aux mixes or subgroups and send those into another mix, so that you can balance the level slightly differently. You can do a main bus EQ and compression differently. And so you can customize that. And with our matrix mixes, it's not just mixes, you can bring inputs in it as well. So what we do a lot of times is we'll take like a subgroup of something, or we'll take the main mix that we have in the room, and then we'll supplement that by feeding a little bit more drums, because the drums are louder in the room, but we can't hear them in the broadcast mix, so it's turned down so much in the main mix. And we'll complement that and get a nice mix of on the matrix mix, set up the EQ and the compression on that matrix mix, customized to optimize that level control for broadcast and streaming. And now you've turned a streaming broadcast for your services from, I hear the vocals real well, but nothing else, and it's all kind of mixed up, to a clear, easily intelligible mix that's going to sound good on both the platforms. So, a little long-winded, sorry, but matrix mixing and with the flex mixes is probably one of my favorites.
Nice. Thank you so much, Ray.
Yeah, thank you.
That was
Appreciate
awesome.
you guys coming out.